back here at Salem Hills High School at the half, where the Spanish Fork Dons on top by a touchdown. We want to thank the sponsors of tonight's game making this broadcast possible here. We want to thank the Car Guys for sponsoring the Car Guys Instant Replay. Lance Wilson at State Farm Insurance, MVP Sports for sponsoring the MVP of the game, which will be named in the conclusion of our post-game show. Two Jack's Pizza, and also Spanish Fork 17 with Triple T as well in there, as we welcome all of our sponsors here and thank them for their continued support of high school athletics here on Spanish Fork Community Network. We do want to also thank our crew and staff that's here with Ryan Pickens and Chris Hurst at the half. As you see the Spanish Fork sideline, they've traveled well, but right now a lot of energy right in front of us, Chris. Those Salem Hills students, they're definitely ready for the second half.
Yeah, they play some amazing music here and they get these fans pumped up. I want to say the most exciting game I went to last year from a fan atmosphere was here at Salem Hills High School when we covered the Salem Hills Maple Mountain game. They have great fans here at Salem Hills High School.
I was here, so I got here at about 5:30 just to get things ready for the broadcast, watch some warm-ups and things like that, and probably some of it because I didn't really have anything else to do on a Friday night. There was people here in the stands at 5:30. That doesn't happen anywhere you go. I mean, Chris, you and I have gone all throughout Region 8. That just doesn't happen where you get people here an hour and a half before kickoff, hanging out, having a good time.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever shown up to a game before 6:40, so I can't say whether that's true, but that's pretty impressive that they were here at 5:30.
So right there, Salem Hills retaking the field with a bunch of American flags. They bust through the big American flag banner. Spanish Fork on the other side hitting back to the field here as we're having about 3 minutes or so before kick, as red, white, and blue balloons go off here into the end zone, and we'll head off. And Chris, when we take a look at this first half, the keys to the game that you mentioned, keep Kiesel up, was one of the biggest ones, and then remember to be special. There was a couple of them, and we've seen the special teams convert the 2 extra points tonight. You look at that, everyone's probably thinking, well, that's probably not a huge thing, but when you can't convert 3 in one game, to convert your next 2, definitely something to really look forward to.
Yeah, they've done a great job of on special teams. Wee Stanton's done a great job of punting. There's also been the kickoff coverage has been good. Special teams for both teams have been well. They've kind of negated each other. I'd say the big thing is Spanish Fork, one of our other keys, was putting some pressure on Swenson, and they've done exactly that, and I believe that led to Mace Funa, the 14-year-old phenom, taking one to the house for the 3rd time this season. He needs to look up the state record because he might own it someday.
That's definitely something if he continues that going. And you talk about, too, especially, you talk about high school football. There's kind of this idea that, well, you're a freshman, you probably shouldn't be playing varsity, you should be playing JV or even, you know, the 10th grade or the freshman or sophomore team, much less to come in at varsity. And, you know, a lot of times if you are a freshman, you're on varsity, you're playing those final, 5 minutes when your team's up by 30 and all the second and third team guys are out there. Not Mace Funa. Funa's put himself right in and said to everybody who may have been a critic that he's playing as a freshman, said, hey, guys, look at this. I'm going to score touchdowns.
Yeah, if you were to just watch this game and not know how old he is, you'd probably assume he was a junior or a senior, definitely an upperclassman. He does not play like he's young, and he's never out of position either. I've been very impressed with his poise. There's not too many freshmen that have that physical ability that can also have the mental capacity to play with it as well.
And that's definitely something that when you take a look at that for the first half for Tristan Swenson there, Chris, really a great first half for the Skyhawks quarterback. The only mistake that he made, he's thrown 2 touchdowns, but the mistake was he threw 1 to Mace Funa.
Yeah, he did unfortunately throw 1, but at the same time, Spanish Fork's playing a defense where they're not going to, they might break a little bit. They're going to bend but not break, I should say, where they'll give up 5 yards here, but their plan is not to let you get the big play, and so far they've been able to stop Salem Hills for the most part with that strategy.
Right now, just taking a quick look at the Maple Mountain game. No score, 7:42 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Springville got the running game going. It looks like Scott Averett just breaks through into the secondary. And no, I don't think that's Scott Averett, actually. I'm not sure when last year Scott Averett wore 21. I remember seeing him run all over Maple Mountain last year. And that's a guy for Springville next week. We're going to see when Springville makes the trip to Spanish Fork. I'm sure we're going to see a heavy dose next week of Scott Averett.
Yeah, we'll probably see a heavy dose of him and Thorpe. And Springville has a defense. They are shutting Maple Mountain down tonight.
Offensive coordinator Jerry Huffman and I were talking this week. I wished him the best of luck, as Jerry, of course, my partner in the basketball season. So he's definitely having a lot of fun, looking forward to another exciting season of Maple Mountain basketball. Well, and Spanish Fork, but I guess the main thing, Chris, let's worry about the football season first.
One quick question about Jerry. How do you keep him under control? I did a girls basketball game with him last year, and I'm hard to keep in control at times too. I don't think they should put the two of us together very often. It was fun.
You know, it was an absolute blast. You know, I've been definitely fortunate to work with you and Jerry and a few other people here on Spanish Fork Community Network, as Springville has just taken the lead 6-0, that one in the third quarter. So the Red Devils on the board, and that could set up quite the showdown next week. These two teams could be 1-0. Uinta taking on Payson. Last time I saw, Uinta had a lead over the Lions, that one being played a few miles south of us, as the squib kick to start the third quarter is down at around the 32-yard line.
And not a bad idea with the squib kick, because that's about where Salem's been starting anyways, and you didn't risk a big return. Great call by Coach Jordan Smith.
So keys now for Salem Hills. How do the Skyhawks, they've been able to move the ball tonight, but how do they get over the idea of let's get the ball into the end zone?
If I were them, I would just try and pound it up the middle. They owned the line of scrimmage there in the first quarter. They kind of went away from that. I'd just see if you can't wear this Spanish Fork defense out a little bit and then go play action pass to Cooper Smith.
Cooper Smith to the top of your screen. Shotgun set for Tristan Swenson. He's going to give it right up the middle. Here's Wolfgram, and Wolfgram grits across the 35 to the 36-yard line on first down.
And exactly on cue, they do run it up the middle. I'd do it again if I was Coach Joel Higginson.
And that's definitely something. If you can open up that run game like you talked about, and then all of a sudden you can go play action and drop it over the top, Salem Hills could probably get something going pretty quick. They have a lot of weapons on the Salem Hills team.
Yeah, and they have big play capabilities. Both these teams do. They can score on any given play.
Second down and 5, shotgun set, 3-step drop, gonna put it out there. That one's complete, and making a man miss and getting across into Spanish Fork territory. That is number 6, that's Jackson Van Tassel on the reception, and he gets into Spanish Fork territory, and that's just a corner there, making a good attempt. Condi came up and just missed him.
Yeah, just missed him. You make a man miss, and you get a huge gain, and now Salem is in Spanish Fork's territory, looking to get back in this ball game.
The ball on the 49-yard line, 1st and 10, 11:08 to go here in the third quarter. Just underway if you're joining us. Right up the middle again. Here's an outside cut here by Wolfgram. He's got a first down at about the 35-yard line. Garrett Lloyd on the carry. Sorry about that.
I don't know what Coach Higginson said to these guys, but they look like they have a lot more energy now than they did in that second quarter.
And I mean, some of it you could say was maybe some of the festivities before the game, kind of getting caught up in that moment with a slow start. But now, I mean, you're in the third quarter now. You got to go. If you're both of these teams, you got to get it together.
Exactly.
1st and 10, ball on the 36-yard line. Man goes across the middle. Here's another carry up the middle. That's going to be Lloyd again. And Lloyd's going to get a couple down to about the 32-yard line. And you're seeing a lot of Garrett Lloyd here coming up here to open up the third quarter.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad idea. They did have a little bit of success running early in this ball game, and it opens up the pass game. If you can run, then you're going to force those safeties, those linebackers to come up, and then, you know, maybe Mace Funa won't be able to pick it because he's out of position.
Mace Funa approaching the line of scrimmage there. He looks like he could be coming. 2nd down and 6. They're going to drop back to pass. Swenson throws over the middle. That pass is going to be missed and almost intercepted, but Salem Hills gets down inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line. That's once again Van Tassel, and it's first down, Salem Hills. Spanish Fork Whitford almost had the interception. As we see there, the Garrett Lloyd run from the previous play.
Yeah, and there had to have been a couple of guys there that had had their fingertips on as we're trying to hear ourselves here. These fans are starting to get into it, that's for sure.
Everyone's getting kind of excited here at Salem Hills High School, that's for sure, as the Skyhawks get ready to drive here with 9:44 to go, third quarter. The Skyhawks trying to tie this one up. Shotgun set for Tristan Swenson. He's got two wide receivers. Three-step drop. Swenson throws a fader out looking for Smith.
Oh.
The ball's bobbled away and knocked down as Bryce Larson knocked it away at the last second. Cooper Smith, though, had that ball kind of in his hands. Great job by Bryce Larson.
Yeah, they teach you to break the receiver's hand. You don't necessarily want to go for the ball. You want to just try and break the wrist. And that's exactly what number 20, Bryce Larson, did on that. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that was 6 that time.
They had definitely the route they wanted, and this time it just didn't quite work. Cooper Smith in the first half, a 37-yard touchdown reception that at the time gave the Skyhawks a 7-0 lead.
We got to give a shout out to the fans here. They're doing a great job of making some noise.
Second down and 10, 9:33 to go, second quarter. Ready to go, three-step drop. And they're going to go right up the middle, gets down, it passes ruled incomplete as they were looking over here to number 16, Zach Simmons, a senior tight end.
And Salem's doing a good job of trying to distribute the ball to multiple people. Sometimes you just cue on to one person. So I've lost my train of thought suddenly, but if you try and cue on one person, sometimes the defense knows that and they start to put 2 or 3 guys on him.
And that's when some of these other weapons for Salem Hills will be key, as we see the Spanish Fork coaching staff quickly try to shout out the defensive calls here. Third down and 10. 3 receivers on the play. Swenson drops back to pass over the middle. That one, did he catch it? No, he did not. The pass goes incomplete. Once again, looking for Van Tassel, and what a second half he's had here. He's gotten right involved in that offense.
He has, and now it looks like they're going to be forced to kick a field goal here.
And this is going to be interesting, Chris, because this is something you don't see a ton at the high school level. But correct me if I'm wrong. You remember I'm not very good at math. I'm going to say a 32-yard field goal here.
We're going to go with 32.
Okay.
22 plus 10.
Sounds good. Here we go.
Is that how they do it in Oregon?
I believe so. That one's going to be up, and he missed it.
It was wide right. Had plenty of distance. Almost got blocked. Great job of getting it down, but just a little wide right that time.
And so now that's going to move the ball here to the 20-yard line for Spanish Fork, and they're going to start. And this is an opportunity for the Dons really just to get that offense going.
Right, and their defense did their job. They did flip the field position, Salem did, but now it was an opportunity for Spanish Fork's offense to take control of this ball game and get a big lead.
Remember, over on our sister station, Springville and Maple Mountain playing. You can catch that game there, as that's a battle of undefeated teams. Last time we checked, Springville led. Braden Christensen over the middle. He's going to get about 6 or 7 and get out to about the 26-yard line.
I didn't see the play like I thought it was going to develop. I thought that was going to be an interception when he threw that, but Braden Christensen runs up, the big tight end, makes the catch, and gets 7 yards. Great job by Spanish Forks Kiesel that time. And that's a high percentage pass, and they need to work on completing more passes, as they've only completed about 39% coming into tonight's ball game.
2nd and 3. Kiesel steps back to pass, has some time. He's going to look down the sidelines, throws it behind his intended receiver, Isaac Pendleton. And that really was the only spot he could put that, as the Salem corner was running just step for step with him in coverage.
Yeah, Salem's had great coverage tonight, especially deep there. Their corners are probably a little faster than Spanish Forks receivers, and that credit the Salem Hills secondary for being able to play man-to-man coverage like that.
About 4:55 to go, third quarter. Springville 6, Maple Mountain 0. We'll keep you updated as we go throughout the game, so if you're waiting to watch that one, understand spoiler alert will be coming. We'll try to keep you updated in case you're waiting to catch that one and you don't want to hear the score. That was up the middle and going nowhere.
And once again, that's another example of Salem Hills defensive line just wanted a little more than Spanish Forks offensive line, and they're pushing the offensive line back, and they should. The offensive line has every advantage. They know the snap count, they know when to go, but Salem's just anticipating it and pushed them back a couple yards.
So 4th down and 5, as Way Stanton will come into punt. Cooper Smith going to go back to around his own 38-yard line where he's standing all alone back there. Stanton standing back at his own 12. Spanish Fork late getting the final guy on the field. Stanton will do the rollout punt here. We'll see how Salem Hills defends it. Stanton's going to roll out this time. He's going to punt it the last second. Gets a nice kick off, but it's going to go out of bounds at around the 40, and they're still going to walk it off.
I think he's going to go to 48, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking, somewhere around there.
I guess we're wrong. Well,
right around midfield, it looks like, is where the ball is going to be placed. So Salem Hills has, it seems like tonight anyway, they've really been winning that field position game for the most part.
They have, and that's eventually going to pay off for them tonight. It hasn't so far, but they drove the ball well that time, and this time they get that extra 15 yards, and that's all they needed to score a touchdown on the last drive.
Cooper Smith and the Skyhawks break the huddle. Smith at the bottom of your screen. Colt Condi playing about 10 yards off. Salofa Funa will be right there just to hit him immediately. They are trying to jam him right at the line of scrimmage. Man goes in motion for the Skyhawks. Funa looks like he's coming off the end. Swenson right up the middle, runs into a host of Dons, and he's going nowhere.
I believe it was Tukuafu. All right, I better write that down. Got in there first.
Tukuafu was there as he makes the stop. The reason why I know that is Will Tukuafu with the Seattle Seahawks lived in Eugene, played football at the University of Oregon. I got to know him a little bit.
Awesome.
That's the only reason why I know that name.
Well,
so
that was a great job by Tukuafu that time.
Second down and 11. Ball sits on the 50-yard line, ready to go through 4 wide receivers, 3 to the bottom of your screen. Swenson rolls out. He's going to take a shot really deep. Got Cooper Smith down there and overthrew him. He had Cooper Smith, who had about 3 steps on the next defender. And if he hits that, that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, that would have been 6 that time if that ball would have just been back just a couple of inches, but unable to connect, and that's a very hard pass to connect on, but you know, if you throw it enough, they'll eventually connect on one. Spanish Fork's been sucked up by this run game, and if I was Coach Joe Higginson, I'd go back to that at some point tonight.
3rd down and 10 coming up as Apui and Argyle have had a busy night in that secondary playing that safety. They're just kind of split in the middle of the field there, and both just kind of playing center field, I guess playing like left center and right center for the most part tonight. Swenson steps back to pass, has some time, looks over the middle, that's complete. First down, Skyhawks makes the man miss down inside the 30, and the ball helmet comes off. That's number 2, that's Caden Coots on the reception. First down, Skyhawks, and that's just the sort of big play you want on 3rd down.
Yeah, and that's the 2nd time Spanish Forks missed a tackle where it would have been stopped for about 3 or 4 yards, but Coons does his little Reggie Bush impression and gets away that time and is able to pick up big yardage for the Skyhawks.
Landon Jensen came running over from the other side of the field to make that stop. He's been just all over the field tonight for Spanish Fork. 1st and 10, ball on the 26-yard line. Going to give it right up the middle, and here's getting into the secondaries, Lloyd. He's down inside the 15, down to about the 14-yard line, and now all of a sudden you're starting to see, Chris, that running game start to open up more and more for Salem Hills.
Yeah, and Salem Hills got it down to this position in the field last time, and then they tried to get a little cute. They tried to throw the ball into the end zone. If I were them this time, I would just keep running the ball down Spanish Forks linebackers and defensive linemen's throats.
Wolfgram's the deep back here. He's gotten a good portion of the carries tonight along with Garrett Lloyd. We'll see what they do here. Man goes in motion across your screen, and they're going to give it to Wolfgram right up the middle, lowers his head, gets to about the 10-yard line for a gain of about 4, and now the clock runs under 6 minutes here to go in the 3rd quarter. Salem Hills has had very good field position, especially here in the 3rd quarter, having started a couple of times around that 40 to 50-yard line.
Yeah, they have, and they need to start taking advantage of it because, you know, if Spanish Fork can flip the field, it doesn't look like either offense is too anxious to get in the end zone.
Both teams have been content to huddle and just let that clock run tonight. 3 receivers. Got to watch Cooper Smith to the top of your screen. They threw the fade route last time. They give it up the middle. Here's Wolfgram on the carry again inside the 10-yard line down to about the 6. And so there's a gain of about 3, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and about 2.5 maybe coming up.
Yeah, and the Spanish Forks, they're going to bend but not break once again. As you know, you can suck those safeties up now that you don't have to worry about the deep ball, and maybe that's why Spanish Forks had a little bit more success when Salem's entered the red zone.
3rd down and 3 here. Salem Hills will huddle quickly. Now they'll break the huddle. Cooper Smith to the bottom of your screen here. The far, and then now whistles blow, and we'll see here. We're gonna get timeout Salem Hills. Their first timeout here of the third quarter, and their second here in the second half. That could be something potentially with a 7-point game, Chris, where you don't necessarily want to use the timeout now, but you're so close to scoring, you kind of have to be smart with it. Let's quickly get our sponsors, Chris. Let's get your thought on the question.
All right, we got the Car Guys sponsoring the instant replay tonight. We got the Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance with the assist of the game, MVP Sports with the MVP player of the game, Two Jacks Pizza. Great pizza, they're a sponsor here. We got Spanish Fork Community Network. They're built for speed. They got a little car game on their website if you want to go check that out. And we got Triple T. Apologize we don't have their logo, but they'll take care of your heating and cooling needs.
And right now, especially as we're here in the kind of that late summer, early fall, a lot of probably needs to get that heating and everything checked out for the winter time. I hear it's supposed to be a much more harsher winter than we had last year, but of course I don't think it can get much milder than the winter we had last year either. 3rd down and 3, ball on the 7-yard line for the Skyhawks. Gonna give it right up the middle. Here's Wolfgram. He's to the 4-yard line, tripped up. And my question is, he might be close on second look here.
And they're going to give him the first down. That was the signal.
And now, so that will be a first down, as now it's 1st and goal, 4:40 to go. And that clock continuing to run. A very quick second half here. A lot of running, especially coming from Salem Hills.
Yeah, I'd keep it with Wolfgram here and just keep pounding it, because their line wants it more than Spanish Fork's defensive line so far tonight.
They're going into, I don't want to say a big kind of a power package here. 2 fullbacks, Wolfgram the deep back.
And they went the wrong way.
And they went the wrong way. Tristan Swenson trying to get to the corner. He's going to get pretty close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to lose about a yard, but it looks like Salofa Funa getting there. And Mateen Lomax, number 31, getting there. And really, Chris, for what that play could have been, just to lose 1 yard is a pretty good outcome if you're Salem Hills.
Yeah, when your quarterback turns right, your running back goes left. That's never good. So I think Swenson did a good job of just getting that 1 yard loss, and they live to run the ball another game, hopefully, or another down here. But you're right. I've seen turnovers where the quarterback just plain drops the ball or runs 5 yards back.
2nd down and 5. Man goes in motion across your screens. Cooper Smith. 3-step drop, throws over the middle. That one's going to be caught and dropped. He caught it and then got hit and then dropped the ball, as that one was thrown in very quickly to Cooper Smith, but he couldn't hold on.
And that's the 2nd time Cooper Smith dropped one near the goal line tonight. But it's not been his fault. It's been a great play by the Spanish Fork secondary coming up and knocking the ball out of his hands.
3rd down and 5. Ball will sit. Well, I say 3rd and 5. It's 3rd and goal from the 5. I should clarify that here for you as we approach 3:23 to go, 3rd quarter. Salem Hills looking to try to see. You have to kind of think maybe they're in 2-down territory here. Who knows how many more possessions they're going to have with the way teams are running the clock here. Here's the give up the middle. Wolfgram trying to get in, gets close, but he's not going to be in. He's down to about the 2-yard line, so a gain of about 3.
And Spanish Fork is stopping him when it matters tonight. They've let Salem drive the ball down twice in the 3rd quarter down here, and they've stopped him both times, and that brings up 4th down, and looks like Salem's content to go for it.
So big play here, 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. I should say that was Garrett Lloyd on the carry, not Wolfgram. Clock ticks under 3 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. 14-7 in favor of Spanish Fork. A big defensive play here. Single back set. Man goes in motion across the screen, and whistles go, and we'll see here.
It's probably a delay of game.
Dead ball, delay of game, Salem Hills. Tristan Swenson came all the way pretty much over to the sideline to get the play call, and then a substitution was made before they even huddled. And so now all of a sudden it's going to be 4th and goal from the 8-yard line.
And it's a lot harder to get 8 yards than 3, so another big penalty that might stall a drive here for Salem, as they're obviously going for the tie.
Sam Callister comes in the game, number 21. He's had a couple of catches tonight for the Skyhawks.
Keep an eye on number 10, clear on the right side of your screen, Cooper Smith. They're going to go to him, I think.
3 receivers to the bottom, 1 to your top. 3-step drop. Swenson pump fakes, goes down, stays on his feet, rolls out to the right, throws back in the end zone, and that one's in and out of the hands, incomplete. As they were going for Cooper Smith, and Smith had to try to make a great catch, but the Spanish Fork defense makes a stop.
Right, and they were going right to Smith at the first of this play. He pump fakes it when he realizes it's not there, and then he gets in trouble and runs out of time. Great job by Spanish Fork bringing the heat that
and that one's in and out of the hands. Smith reached out with that left hand, just hoping to try to pull it in, but even at that point, he was in the air. As he pulls it in, I don't think he would have gotten a foot down. But that Spanish Fork defense with a huge stop, and now they have to start at their own 8-yard line.
And I think just to help their defense out, they need to pick up a couple of first downs and run this clock out at least to the end of the quarter.
2nd down and 7. 3 receivers for the Dons. Single back set, and Kiesel steps back to throw. He's going to take a shot. Now he's going to run. At the 10, across the 15, slides down. He did take a little bit of a hit there as Salem Hills went to the ground with him, but he's able to stay in there.
And Isaac Pendleton was open that time. I think Kiesel's becoming a little too run happy here, and I think it's partly because he's been hit a lot.
Spoil alert if you're getting ready to watch the Maple Mountain game. Chris, Springville 12, Maple Mountain 0. I believe that's in the 4th quarter now over at Springville High School.
And a lot of people are saying whoever wins that game is going to win region, and that's hard to say when that's the first game of the season, but that's a huge game.
Kiesel keeps it, almost falls, but he's able to kind of make something out of nothing there. Gets pretty close to the 20-yard line, and they're going to give him a first down, and Spanish Fork has a first down with 1:19 to go in the 3rd.
But I wouldn't count Maple Mountain out. They've got Jaron Hall, and that kid knows how to come back not only in football, basketball, but baseball. So I would never count out a team with Jaron Hall on it, especially him at quarterback.
He made 3 or 4 plays during the basketball season where I was just like, boy, how are they going to pull this one off? And then he hits a clutch 3 at the buzzer, and I just go, wow. 1st and 10 from the 20, flags fly. This is probably going to be against Spanish Fork for a false start. But that's just exactly the point. In high school football, you just never know what's going to happen.
Well, I guess back to the ranch here. Spanish Fork gets a penalty here, and they did pick up 1 first down, but they're putting themselves in a hole. And I've been a lot more impressed with Salem Hills' offense than Spanish Fork's offense tonight. But that big turnover is the difference in tonight's ball game.
And you really look at the key here in Region 8, Chris, I think, is you want to be in those top 2 spots when it comes to the playoffs. Kiesel's going to roll out. He's going to look down the field. He's got a completion out across the 20. Making a man miss. Ball comes loose, and Salem Hills, I believe, has it. I think that might have been Jackson Higginson who brought it in. We'll see here, and it's going to be Salem Hills. No official word yet, and it is Skyhawk football.
Yeah, and that's a tough break for the Dons. But so you got to hang on to that ball with both hands, but credit Salem Hills. They just came up and popped Higginson that time.
It was Stanton on the catch. I wasn't sure. It kind of looked like Higginson from the far side of the field. I wasn't 100% sure. And Stanton, who hasn't seen a lot of action tonight at wide receiver, but now a big turnover kind of gives Salem Hills new light. Earlier in the game, after they made a big defensive play, the first play they went deep. So try to keep an eye on where Cooper Smith might be here to see if Salem Hills takes a shot deep. Swenson on the quarterback keeper to the 20-yard line, and he's going to get about 5 yards before being pushed back. And that probably is my guess going to be the final play of the quarter, but we'll see for sure.
And guess who made the tackle again? Landon Jensen. He's got the turbo button pressed down all night, and I don't know when he's going to run out of energy.
Well, that's going to end the third quarter here at Salem Hills High School. We are setting up for a dandy here as we head to the fourth quarter. It's Spanish Fork 14, Salem Hills 7. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Start of the fourth quarter here at Salem Hills High School. The Skyhawks have been given opportunity after opportunity, and once again, opportunity is knocking here if you're the Salem Hills Skyhawks. Tristan Swenson drops back to throw, looking in the flat. He's got a man at about the 10. The ball comes loose, and Spanish Fork's got it. It came right into the hands of none other than number 24, Devin Argyle.
And back-to-back turnovers here, and I guess the third time is not the try, or isn't the charm for Salem Hills. Wow. Anyways, 3 times they've had the ball in the red zone here in the second half, and they haven't been able to convert. Spanish Fork's offense, I think, is still in Spanish Fork, as they have done nothing here in the second half to speak of.
Maybe that bus will start leaving the high school and make the quick trip down the, I don't even know what the highway or whatever the road is, but maybe it will make its way to Salem. First down at 10, ball on the 9-yard line, ready to go here, and the keeper is Kiesel, and he's going to be dropped in the backfield for about a 3 to 4 yard loss, as once again that Salem Hills defensive line is able to find a way to get there. And
both teams this season have given up a lot of points, and both offenses have put up a lot of points, so it's kind of surprising we're to this point in the ball game and it's only 14-7.
I thought for sure we were going to see some sort of like shootout where we were going to see some points scored. I would not have thought it was going to be a defensive battle, 14-7 game.
And well, I guess we're early in the fourth quarter. High school football, a lot can happen.
3 wide receivers. Kiesel steps back to pass, has some time. He's looking for the deep ball. Got Jackson Higginson, who makes the catch at the 50-yard line and gets into Skyhawk territory as he makes that big play, and that's got to be kind of a dagger in the heart of his uncle on the other sideline.
Yeah, we got brother versus brother, nephew versus uncle, and so far Spanish Fork's on the winning end of this thing. But if nothing else, Spanish Fork just flipped the field. Kiesel threw that ball from 2 yards deep in the end zone, launched it down the field. Higginson got underneath it, and now Spanish Fork's in Salem Hills territory. That is a big momentum changer.
First down and 10, ball going to be on the Salem Hills 46-yard line, as we're going to see 3 wide receivers, Tuita and Saili, in the ball game. Shotgun set. Here's the option play. Kiesel trying to get outside. He's gonna keep it, and he's gonna lose about 2 or 3. When he got outside like that and went to go for the pitch, that was the right play, just to hold it with those 3 Skyhawk defenders that got there.
Yeah, that thing could have ended up being a big turnover that time. Great job by Kiesel, realizing the time and the situation. You don't need to take a risk. Just go ahead and lose a few yards and live for second down. That's not the worst thing in the world.
2nd and 12 coming up, ball on the 48-yard line. You talked about it, Chris. First downs would be huge to give that defense for the Dons a break, who a much-deserved break. Kiesel steps up, has some time. He's looking deep for Higginson again, and that one's just, it looks like, out of the reach of Jackson Higginson there, as he was running stride for stride into the secondary.
And give that offensive line some credit. They've given Kiesel some time on the last few pass plays, and that's allowed for Higginson to get beyond the defense, where we haven't seen that prior to this drive.
Higginson has proved to be a pretty good deep threat here for Spanish Fork throughout the season. He'll come off the field here for a play, probably just give him an opportunity to catch his breath. 3rd down and 12 here. Spanish Fork needs the 36-yard line to convert. Kiesel drops back to throw. He's going to get a good portion of that to the 40-yard line, as that was complete to Isaac Pendleton. And now that sets up about a fourth and about 4.
And they're going to bring out Wee Stanton to punt it here, which I think is the right call. Pin Salem back. Your defense has done a great job, especially in the red zone, of making sure Salem doesn't get points. Salem hasn't taken advantage of the opportunities given to him on the other side of things, though.
Cooper Smith drops back. He's standing at his own 9-yard line. Way Stanton into punt. He's standing at the 46-yard line of Spanish Fork.
I think the MO of the special
high
teams.
Snap, and Stanton's able to pull it down. They get the punt off, and that's going to go down inside the 5-yard line, and it's going to take a seat at around the 3.
Well, that went from bad to good in a hurry for the Dons.
I lost the ball looking up, and I thought it was around I was looking way off, and all of a sudden I just followed the action, and ball went down inside the 5.
Well, the guy next to the center runs out late. That seems to be an MO of Spanish Fork. They were running out of time, which threw the timing of the snap off. It was high. They've had problems with that this season. But credit Wee Stanton for making making something out of nothing. That looked like it was going to be disaster, and instead Salem Hills starts deep in their own territory at the 4-yard line.
And now 1st and 10, and the Skyhawks have to go 97 yards to try to tie this ball game up. Here's Wolfgrim on 1st down. He's going to get out across the 7, almost to, looks like, the 8-yard line. And you have to wonder here, Chris, I mean, obviously Salem's had a lot of luck with the run tonight, but also with 8:40 to go in the ball game, maybe you don't want to run it too much and just run that clock.
That's very true. That's a very valid point. And at some point, I think maybe right now would be a good time to go play action, go deep. The safeties, the linebackers have really crept up here, so you can probably go over the top of them.
So Skyhawks will break the huddle here, single back set. Here comes the pressure, the give, and Wolfgrim's going to get dropped in the backfield, as getting there looked to be Trujillo alongside with a couple of other Dons. They had about 4 white jerseys in that backfield about the time that Wolfgrim grabbed the ball.
Yeah, they did a good job of penetrating that backfield and getting a stop that time, and that brings up a critical 3rd and about 6 here for Salem Hills, and they've got to get something going. Time's running out, and they haven't been in too big a hurry tonight.
4 wide as Swenson goes deep down the sideline, got a man out there, one-on-one flag comes in, and we've seen that call tonight been a pretty strong no call.
Yeah, I know.
But here in the 4th quarter, Cooper Smith running in coverage, and I mean the contact was made, but that's been a call. It's been going as a no call all night.
We've had a couple of similar plays. That one might have been a little closer, but they've been calling the ball uncatchable. So it's, I don't know. Let's see what we see here on the Car Guys instant replay. Well, we saw the flags, but I thought it was uncatchable that time.
I think, too, they might have gotten it. Looked like the Spanish Fork corner there kind of got his hand in on the wrist as well, right as Smith was going to catch that. So, I mean, you got to credit Salem Hills for taking a shot down the field, but as a defender, you don't want to give them an automatic 1st down on a penalty.
Yeah, and that's just what happened.
1st and 10 coming up here for Salem Hills, as they now have an opportunity. Time called here. As they're waiting to get, it looks like.
The chain gain wasn't quite ready. They're not in mid-season form yet, as they were slow to set the chains up.
Next week, Spanish Fork at home for Springville, which will be the 2nd game of the march through the top of Region 8. 3-step drop, Tristan Swenson. He's going deep, looking down the field, and overthrew Van Tassel there in coverage.
And I was going to say, Colt Condi's done a great job. He's not the biggest guy, but, man, he's been in great position tonight, where a couple weeks ago when we saw him against Orem, he sometimes wasn't in the best position, but he's made some adjustments and is playing a great ball game tonight.
Spanish Fork coaches getting that defense ready to go. And that's one of the nice things when you do have a receiver running a route against the sideline, you can kind of use that sideline to a certain extent as an extra defender.
Very true, and he did a great job of using that as a defender.
2nd and 10, 7:29 to go, fourth quarter. Skyhawks trail by 7. 3-step drop. Swenson now being pressured, tries to throw the screen and getting his hand on the ball there.
So Lufa Funa that time, I believe.
And he had his hand right there, almost made the play. Boy, that was a nice defensive play. That could have
that was Tukawafu.
And that potentially could have been a disastrous play for Salem Hills with 7:25 to go. You don't know how many more possessions you're going to get, but at the same time, you can't sit back and not be afraid to take some chances down the field.
Right, and they've been in the red zone 3 times. They're probably kicking themselves right now that they didn't convert on any of those.
They very easily, with all those times, Chris could have the lead right now. Swenson steps back. He's going to throw over the middle. That pass in and out of the hands there is in the coverage. It looks like
Mace Funa was there. That he probably felt that ball go by. He was in pretty good position to make sure that the receiver didn't see the ball that time.
And now 4th down. That's going to bring on a punting opportunity here.
And it'll give Spanish Fork the opportunity to run their 4-minute offense, try and run on some clock here, get another score, and you know, put this game out of position for Salem.
Here comes the punt, the kind of rugby style. Funa was putting some pressure there. That one bounces at the 40. Stanton's going to take it to the 35. Makes the man miss, cuts back to the 40. Still on his feet, he's spinning around. Then he'll be brought down around the 43-yard line. Oftentimes you'll hear coaches say once the ball hits the ground, just let it go. But Stanton luckily had nobody around him.
Yeah, I guess it depends if nobody's around you, but you're right. When that ball bounces, you don't know what way it's going to bounce back up, and when you're and you want to turn and run the other direction, that's pretty dangerous. But Stanton is a sure-handed young man, picks up the ball and makes a few yards there for the Dons.
So a big situation coming here. Like you said, 4-minute offense. I would think to see a lot of run, maybe some kind of read option play with Nate Kiesel. We'll see here what Jordan Smith and the coaching staff draws up. Right up the middle here on 1st down, getting about 4, maybe 5 on the carry, was Nate Kiesel.
And Nate Kiesel, like we said, he is the best running back. I think that might be their best running play, but at the same time, he takes a beating every game, and I don't know how long he's going to be able to take that many hits. It's just a matter of time before you take one raw.
2nd down and 6, and right now, if you're Spanish Fork, the clock is very much your friend.
And I take as much time as I can because your offense has not really had any rhythm anyways.
3 receivers, 2 to the top of your screen. Isaac Pendleton to the bottom of your screen. Kiesel steps back, 3-step drop, throws the out route, throws it high and incomplete. Looking for Jackson Higginson.
And that's about the 4th or 5th time Kiesel's thrown it over his receiver's head that's been open.
Spoiler alert, just in case. 5:11 to go, 14-7, Springville leading Maple Mountain. Golden Eagles have the ball and are driving. It looks like Jaron Hall is just sacked on the play. That great Springville defense is going to be fun to watch next week. A 7 o'clock kickoff right here on Spanish Fork 17. But please, come on out to Spanish Fork High School, pack the stands, and let's get ready to have a great opportunity with Springville in town.
That's going to be a huge game. Great crowd will be there, I'm sure.
3rd and 6, here's the give right up the middle. Salofa Funa gets to around the 50-yard line. And you could tell once he got the ball, he was just going to lower his shoulder and try to run him over. But now it's going to set up this 4th and 3. And this is going to be an opportunity again for you to punt if you're Spanish Fork. Probably not fully thrilled as you wanted to run maybe a little more clock down, but you're going to get under 6 minutes.
And I think they have the right number of guys on the field. I hurried and counted because it seems like the last few times they've punted, they've had to run somebody onto the field. And that really disrupts the play.
Cooper Smith back deep, standing at his own 14-yard line. Stanton put the foot into it. This one almost blocked. He got ran over. Flag
that's a
comes
first down
in.
waiting to happen.
And that's a discipline. That's kind of a discipline thing. You have to understand as a player is when's enough is enough. But that should be the roughing the kicker, as Stanton had no chance to get out of the way. If that is, that's a 15-yard personal foul. Roughing the kicker indicated against Salem Hills. That will be a first down for the Spanish Fork Dons.
And Cody Young just needs to stop. He was close, but close is only good enough in hand grenades and horseshoes. So That time he ran into the punter, and that's a big mistake because now Spanish Fork, worst case scenario, can run some time off. I don't think they're going to be trying to do anything too cute on this possession.
And now you kind of have to deal with, probably, I would think, and this is where that situation now, now you move it 15 yards. It's now on the 35-yard line for Salem Hills. But the other thing is you're probably going to see a heavy dose of Salofa Funa, who's a big guy to bring down.
Trying to see who's in the backfield, but you're right. Or I might just run Keesel up the middle and see if we can't pick up a first down that way.
5:38 to go here in the fourth quarter. Dons hanging on to a 7-point lead. That defense has been stout tonight. Every time Salem Hills has had an opportunity to try to take the lead or tie the ball game, all of a sudden, Spanish Fork makes a play. There seems to be some discussion going on over towards the sideline for Salem Hills. It looks like an explanation being given to Joel Higginson on the sideline as everybody else is ready to go. We get the ready to play signal here. Ball sits on the 35-yard line. 1st and 10, 3-step drop for Keesel. He's going to pump fake. He's going to go deep. Got a man down there. It's Higginson.
Oh.
And it just goes right in and out of his hands, incomplete.
He was double covered. I don't think Higginson thought he would get the ball that time, and I couldn't tell for sure, but it looks like it did go through his hands.
That would have been a huge catch. I don't know if he would have got, he might have gotten in. The pylon's kind of down there on the field. He might have maybe somehow gotten in, but if not, he's at least inside the 5 for sure on that one.
And that's a great job by Spanish Fork's coaching staff just to try and loosen that defense, because the defense is, they're crowding the line, and you can't run when they're crowding the line like that.
Okay, so here's the power formation. Couple of extra blockers in there. They're going to go the screen pass. Gets it out. Salofa Funa at the 30. He's going to be knocked out of bounds as he gets around the 26-yard line. The only bad thing about that,
he went out of bounds.
Out of bounds. The good news is that won't stop the clock for the entire play, just while they get everything set up.
Yeah, if he would have turned back inside, I know he likes contact, but for some reason he went out of bounds that time and stopped the clock with 5:26. But, you know, they pick up a couple more first downs here and a score, and this thing's about over. If you're Salem, you got to get a stop here. You got to stop them on 3rd and 3. This is 4-down territory. But you got to get it sooner rather than later.
And I guess I was wrong. It looks like that does stop the clock entirely here as the clock didn't run. Keesel on the keeper. He's going to come close. He is hit hard, and he is dropped. He got to that line, and that line just kind of, I don't even know if they lifted him up, but he took a shot. He just got bear hugged, and not exactly the kind of high. It's great to see you, Nate, but more like the you're going down, buddy.
And Salem has on their helmets the Skyhawk and their number. I'm not sure what got tattooed on his arm, but I'm sure one of the two is on his arm now. He got hit hard.
4th and 3. Spanish Fork's gone for it at least once tonight on 4th down, and they did not convert. They went for it, I think, later on and did convert on the little play action rollout. We'll see here what they want to do. 4:42 to go, clock running, and this is a huge play in this ball game because if Spanish Fork gets another first down, potentially they can run some clock down, and Jordan Smith using almost all the play clock before he'll burn their first time out here of the fourth quarter with 4:36 to go. It's a 7-point ball game as we get ready here on Spanish Fork 17. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Triple T, for helping out with tonight's broadcast here, heating and cooling. We want to thank Spanish Fork 17 for providing the live stream on sfcn.org and also for bringing this broadcast to you live. To Jack's Pizza, MVP Sports will name the MVP of the game coming up here in our post-game show. Lance Wilson from State Farm and the Car Guys for sponsoring all the Car Guys instant replays tonight. Our broadcast would not be possible without them, so we thank them for their continued support of high school athletics here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
And it's got to be awesome if you're a Spanish Fork or Maple Mountain football player, knowing that your games are broadcast, you can re-watch it. If you've got family that's not in the area, they can watch it. So it's just an awesome service that Spanish Fork Community Network does for these young men.
You can re-watch replays of this game on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SpanishFork17. 4th and 3, big play coming up. Empty backfield. Kiesel's going to keep it right up the middle. First down and more.
He's
20,
in.
10, 5, touchdown, Spanish Fork, Nate Kiesel.
And Spanish Fork with that little quarterback draw, they parted the blue sea that time and were able to get 6 points, and that pretty much puts this game out of reach. Salem Hills offense hasn't shown really to be too explosive. They're more methodical tonight.
Kiesel with his 2nd rushing touchdown, and that should make it here, pending the point after touchdown, a 2-score game, as we'll see here. Ready to go, and the snap is pending here. Snap is high, does get down, kick is up, it looks good, and it is good. And with 4:36 to go in the 4th quarter, 4:30 to go in the 4th quarter, Spanish Fork 21, Salem Hill 7. And Chris, that really was the drive you were looking for if you're Spanish Fork to really put some distance in this one.
Exactly. They did what they needed to do, and they really had struggled in this second half moving the ball. They finally got a drive together and capitalize it. Salem Hills had 3 great drives where they got to the red zone, but were unable to come up with points, and that truly is the difference in this ball game. And Salem Hills will probably wake up in the middle of the night and go, why did we not convert on those red zone drives?
And that's definitely going to be something I would think whenever they get together to watch their film, whether it's tomorrow or early next week. That's definitely going to be something they're going to look back on and say, hey, we could have easily, they left probably a couple touchdowns on the board tonight just because they couldn't convert.
Yeah, but give Spanish Fork credit for going out there and capitalizing on those mistakes. Also, we had back-to-back turnovers. It's been kind of a slow second half, but both defenses have done well tonight.
So definitely with 4:30 to go, Salem Hills might have to step outside their comfort zone here, and they're going to have to go quick, and they're going to have to throw the ball, I would imagine, quite a bit. You're not going to be able to have a 4-minute drive here.
Exactly. They're going to have to go quick. They're going to have to go fast.
Daw puts a foot into it, and he kind of low line drive kick to the 10. Out across the 15 to the 20, 25, 30, still on his feet across the 35-yard line before being brought down. It looks to be number 2, that's Caden Kuntz on the return. And that's a nice return out across the 35, just what you wanted if you're Salem Hills.
Exactly. And you got to credit, if you're Salem here, you got to put the ball in Swenson's hands. He's got a couple of big targets. Cooper Smith, he can hit. Van Tassel out there as well. I think you just got to go 2-minute offense here. Hope you can score. You still have two timeouts, so if you do score, you don't necessarily have to go for that onside kick.
Wolfgram, the back, wasn't in the huddle. He came running on the field late. Swenson ready to go from shotgun. 3-step drop. Now he's going to be pressured. Rolls out. Now he's going to be chased. He's going to throw it the last second. And that one, it looks like, was incomplete.
Yeah, one of our keys was putting pressure on the passer tonight, and that's exactly what Spanish Fork has done tonight. And I think if they continue with that pressure, they'll come out victorious with this 14-point lead.
Definitely a situation here where they're going to have to go relatively quick, but I mean, a situation. Is the call?
That'll be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of down. Loss of down brings up second down and 18 to go. Pass intended for number 10, Cooper Smith. Ball's incomplete. Brings up third down and 18 for the Skyhawks.
think that's a big advantage for Spanish Fork.
Third down and 18. The Skyhawks have to probably find a way here, I would think, to get a chunk of this back. Probably going to be looking to get a good 8 to 10 yards on this one.
And they do have 2 guys on Cooper Smith.
Back to throw over the middle. That one in and out of the hands. It looks like batted down. A flag comes in late. It was number 10. That's Landon Jensen running step for step. And it looks like they're going to say some sort of penalty. I didn't see what the call was. I thought he just reached up and knocked the ball down.
I didn't see anything. I was too busy watching Smith down here. They had Salofa Funa and number 20 Bryce Larson just bracketing him. And I think that's a good idea.
So pass interference against Spanish Fork, the call. That's going to move the ball 15. I believe that's going to set up about a 3rd and about 3 coming up.
It's a spot foul, so it's crazy they don't give you the automatic first down here at the high school level. But once again, they got Salofa Funa finding where Smith's at all times, and they got him bracketed.
Shotgun set. Swenson steps back to pass. Has some time looking deep down the field for Smith. Ball comes up, and that one incomplete. It looked like, again, it was Bryce Larson as that deep back, as Chris, you mentioned, Lofa Funa right at the line, and then all of a sudden in that secondary, Bryce
3 for the Skyhawks.
deeper down the field.
Yeah, that's great coaching, knowing where that big play receiver is, putting your most athletic guy, Salofa Funa, is going to be playing for the Y someday, and just making sure you're disrupting that guy as much as possible.
4th down and 3, a big situation for the Skyhawks. If they don't convert, Spanish Fork, not just with good field position, but a chance to kill a majority of the clock. Shotgun set. Swenson takes the snap. Pressure comes, has some time, throws. That one's going to be caught, complete first down. And I believe was that Van Tassel on the catch. No, that's Caden Coons on the catch, and Coons gets the first down to the 38-yard line, and with 3:57, Skyhawks are going to go fast.
That was huge. That was a huge pickup for Salem. If they wouldn't have converted that, this game would pretty much be over.
3-step drop. Swenson steps back, throws over towards the sidelines, in and out of the hands, incomplete, as they were looking for number 1. That's Isaac Johnson, and that one goes incomplete, brings up a 2nd and 10.
And Salem Hill seems to be pressuring themselves a little too much. They're pressing here. They just need to relax. They're still 3:47. You're not going to win this game on one play.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing there that pass goes incomplete. It does stop the clock, which, I mean, is a somewhat good thing here if you're Salem Hills. Obviously, you want to pick up yards quick, but also you want to try to stop the clock. You do only have those 2 timeouts. 3 receivers to the top of your screen. Spanish Fork kind of playing up. Better watch the deep ball. Swenson goes over the middle. That one's going to be a diving catch. Did he hold on? Yes, he did at the 23-yard line. That's Van Tassel again over the middle.
And that's, I guess, one of the disadvantages when you're bracketing Smith is there's going to be some other guys open out there.
First down at 10, ball on the 22-yard line. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen, going to step back to throw. Swenson with some time. Now runs away from some pressure. He's going to throw at the last second. Got a man down there, but he kind of did a jump throw, and he wasn't able to get it out there.
Great zone defense by the Dons that time. There weren't too many holes in that defense, and Salem's quarterback Swenson could not do anything with it that time.
He didn't really want to run there either and just let that clock run. So now a 2nd down and 10 from the 22.
Well, I think at some point, if it's wide open like that, why not run and try and pick up a first down, because the clock does stop.
2nd and 10, 3:32 to go here in the 4th quarter. 2 touchdown lead for the Spanish Fork Dons. 2 safeties kind of playing back. Swenson with some time throws that one inside middle. Another sliding catch, but this one going to be ruled incomplete. Looking for Caden Kuntz again, and now it's going to bring up 3rd and 10.
And if you're the Dons here, you just got to get 2 more stops, and then you've got the ability to almost run this clock out if you pick up a couple first downs.
3rd and 10, 3:26 to go here in the 4th quarter. A big play coming up here. If you're Salem Hills, you want to get something. You don't want to necessarily go to a 4th and 10 situation, but here just trying to find a way to convert.
Yeah, you need to get that 6 points eventually, but the critical thing's to pick up the first down right now.
3rd down and 10, shotgun set, 3-step They drop it to the running back. Here's Wolfgram at the 10, cuts inside, and he is in. Touchdown, Salem Hills. That's definitely not the defensive breakdown you wanted if you're Spanish Fork.
It's not, and that's a huge play. And you got to credit Wolfgram. He made that thing happen. He found the hole in the defense, and he sliced it, and he gets 6, and now they got to get this PAT. And now I guess the question is, do they go for the onside kick here, Ryan, or are you kicking it deep?
With 3:18, with the play clock being 25, I think you're probably kicking it deep. I don't know, though. We'll see what Joel Higginson comes up with. Extra point is up, and it is good. And with 3:18 to go in the fourth quarter, Chris, we have a whole new bowl game. It's a one-score game. That momentum has definitely kind of come over to this side. The students right in front of us for Salem Hills have some new life, shall we say, than they had maybe 5 minutes ago.
Yes, they're born again Salem Hills Skyhawks fan. I mean, they had made a ton of noise to start this third quarter, and they've been awfully quiet ever since. And now I can't hear myself think again.
So now a big situation coming. Chris, if it's up to you, are you going for the onside kick?
No, I'm going to kick it deep. You have a couple of timeouts. Spanish Fork has really struggled to move the ball. You know they're going to run it most likely, and so I think I'm kicking it deep.
With 3:8, I mean, if there was maybe 2:18 to go.
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. You're kind of in that position where, and it's going to be interesting because just looking at the return team out for Spanish Fork, you have, it looks like you just have the regular return team coming on the field here. As I would think with 3:18, you're probably kicking it deep, especially Spanish Fork has really struggled tonight running the ball.
They have, and they're probably going to try and attempt a couple runs. You got your 2 timeouts. You can give up a first down. That's not a big deal. You can't give up 2 or 3, though.
The kick about to be in the air, and we're back underway. Saili back deep. He runs up. He catches it on the run at the 8. Across the 20. Makes a man miss to the 25, and he's going to be brought down around the 27-yard line. Some extracurricular activity going on, and I'm surprised in a sense quickly as it was number 40 for Spanish Fork.
We don't have a number for him, but
kind of
or a name for the number.
Quickly just kind of getting a little overexcited to hit somebody, I guess you could say, with 3:13 to go. But now this is a big opportunity. Spanish Fork's big run play tonight's been the quarterback draw. Nate Kiesel with the 2 rushing touchdowns.
And that's what I would do. Or I'd roll him out, tell him to put both hands on the ball and just get as many yards as you can. Make sure you stay in bounds if you're the Dons here.
Kiesel right up the middle, quarterback keeper. He's going to get a couple and then gets dropped around the 27-yard line. So he actually might have gotten 1 to the 28, but not very much. Max Simmons, it looks like, getting there on the stop for the Skyhawks. Salem Hills quickly using that second timeout here with 3:08 to go in the fourth quarter.
And if you're the Dons, you got plenty of options. You can continue to try and run, but maybe with all that pressure, if you dare, throw a screen pass. That looks like that's been open. And we'd like to thank our sponsors here on Spanish Fork Community Network. We've got the car guys with the instant replay tonight. Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance with the assist of the game. MVP Sports, MVP Player of the Game, 2 Jacks Pizza, Spanish Fork Community Network, and Triple T. We apologize, we don't have a logo for Triple T, but they're also a wonderful sponsor here on the broadcast.
Great to have them on board, and right now the question is for Spanish Fork, can you get a good enough of a running game here? You know Salem Hills is going to use timeouts every time that they get a stop. Can they now make a big enough stop here to get the one last chance?
Yeah, and you know, you got to strip for the ball. You got to take chances at this point in the game. You've got to either create a turnover or get a stop.
Kiesel again, quarterback option right up the middle, and nothing going on. And now you're in an interesting situation in 3rd and 10. Some coaches might take a chance and throw for it, or do you just make them use that final timeout? With 2:53, Salem Hills doesn't look like they're going to try to stop the clock.
Yeah, they're going to let it roll this time, but you're right. If you throw and it's incomplete, the clock stops. If you run, you've had absolutely no success doing it. Salem Hills defensive line have been a bunch of studs tonight, and they have stopped the run consistently. I think you got to pass, though.
3rd and 11. I think you got to pass, but I think you have to go do something conservative. And now we're going to get, believe, a timeout. We'll see. Spanish Fork uses the timeout. Maybe they're having that same discussion you and I are having, Chris, whether do we throw it, do we pass it? And I mean, that's kind of the debate you have to have here, because yeah, you run it, you run clock off, 25-second play clock. So you think of it, that and the play, you can probably run 30, maybe 35 seconds off the clock potentially. That might be kind of
Salem saved that timeout, so no matter what happens, they're going to stop the clock. So I think you got to go for the first down. You got to maybe run Pendleton 10 yards, have him run that hitch pattern, use his big body, but you've got to be careful. If you're Kiesel, you don't want to pick 6, but I think that's what I would do. I play to win in life.
Well, that's what I mean. Honestly, I'm with you. I mean, I would throw it. I think I like what you said, though. You have to, I think, run something conservative enough where it's not going to cost you a big mistake. Where the worst case scenario,
throw it out of bounds.
You throw it out of bounds, or the ball goes incomplete, or you just get down. That's the biggest thing I think you have to do here if you're Nate Kiesel.
Exactly. Looks like we got trips to the near side of the field, so maybe they'll throw something that way.
Kiesel from the shotgun, single back set, steps out. He's going to roll out to the right, steps up. Now he's going to run, throws to the last second, got him, man, but he fell, and it goes incomplete. It was Brooks Ringer, number 9, that was open, but he fell. And now with 2:20 to go, Salem Hills will have one last shot, and they're going to have a timeout.
But I like the play call to be aggressive. Ringer just kind of slipped. The ball was a little bit behind him. I think they had the right idea. Now you got to put the game in your defensive's hands, and they've done a great job in this second half, denying Salem Hills the end zone.
Way Stanton into punt, number 12, standing back at his own about 12. Now kind of moves up to the 13. Good snap. Goes off to the right. Low line drive kick. It's going to bounce it around the 48-yard line and just roll. Nice bounce. Roll. And it's going to be down at around the 35-yard line of Salem Hills. And so a good opportunity for the Skyhawks here. You got decent field position. You have a quarterback who's been able to throw it at times tonight. But with 2:10 to go, you have almost your full playbook, I would think, open with that one timeout.
Absolutely, you got your full playbook. If you hurry up to the line, you can still run the ball. And, you know, that might catch the Dons off guard. I saw in that BYU-Nebraska game, they ran a draw with no timeouts and picked up a first down. So I think you do have your full playbook at your disposal.
1st and 10, ball sits at the 35, trips to the bottom of your screen. Swenson steps up, now he's going to be hit, gets away. Now he's looking to do something with it, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds back at around the 22-yard line, and he's going to lose. That's about a 13-yard loss, not what you wanted if you're Salem Hills.
Yeah, great job by Salofa Funa that time, making sure he went nowhere. He just wanted it more that time. I think Salem might want to go back to that screen pass. They've had some success with that. I think this might be the right position to do that play again, because Spanish Fork's pinning their ears back a little bit, but they did get pressure with only 4 guys.
Between Funa and Tukuafu, both of them just kind of chased them out. 2nd and 24 for the Skyhawks. 1:57, they did get out of bounds to stop the clock. Swenson looking down the field, throws it high. It's intercepted by Bryce Larson. Larson at the 25, and he is going to make a cut move and be brought down back at the 29-yard line. And now, with 1:47, Spanish Fork can kill the clock, and they'll have an opportunity to see here if they can't just run it out.
Yeah, I think they have to run a couple of plays. Salem does have the one timeout, but I don't think you just run your normal plays and then you should be able to nail it here. But great job by the defenses. I believe that is the 11th interception of the season for Spanish Fork, as they are turning into quite the ball hawks this season.
And that could really, I mean, you think of it, that could be one thing. Maple Mountain has a pretty pass-heavy offense, from the most part, from what I'm seeing anyway, and that could maybe spell some problems for Jaron Hall and the Eagles here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's very, very valid point.
1st and 10, ball on the 30-yard line, ready to go, shotgun set. Kiesel's going to throw it. He's looking downfield, and that one just kind of thrown into the dirt, incomplete, which probably was the best play there. You take a chance with an interception, all of a sudden, who knows what happens.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not running the ball here. Now that stops the clock, and now you're almost forced to pass because you haven't been able to run the ball tonight. I don't know about that.
I don't know when you have a big back like Salofafuna. I don't know why in this situation he's not maybe getting the ball for at least the okay. You haven't had a ton of success with it, but why not here just to try to kill the clock?
Make Salem use their timeouts.
Funa gets the carry here. He's going to spin, still on his feet, and he's going to get very close to the marker.
Looks like they're giving it to him.
And if that's a first down, that could very well put a lot of pressure on Salem to use that final timeout here. We're going to see here, and they will. First down.
Now I think you can see the victory formation.
Looks like Salem Hills just used that final timeout with a minute 29. 25-second play clock in high school football.
Once they set the ball.
Once they get that ball set. And so you take a knee, you're able to kind of see here. Of course, you'll probably see Kiesel hold on to it as much as he can before they gives it back to the official. But that's the thing. You go 25, 50, 115, 129. I mean, with no timeouts, this one's pretty much over, barring a mishandled snap.
Unless they want to throw it again, which I was shocked at that play call. I don't mean to criticize the coaches too much, but I thought they could just run the clock out.
Well, and I think when you take a look at that formation and everything, you have to kind of think that was probably what 9 times out of 10 coaches would do. I'm sure Coach Jordan Smith had a reason for that. Maybe let's take one shot just to end it now. I mean, I don't know. We'd have to talk to him and find out. But now an opportunity for the victory formation here. If you're Spanish Fork, you're going to be 1-0 in region play as long as you can hold on and win this one. And now you're probably getting, I haven't heard a final in the Springville Maple Mountain game, but if that score held up from the last time, you're having a battle of teams that are 1-0 at the top of Region 8.
That'll be quite the battle.
Here's the pitch outside. It looks like it's going to be Funa. Lowers his head at the 10. Still on his feet, trying to get to the goal line. Did he get in?
He did.
They're going to, looks like whistles are blowing. There's a flag down back at the 11-yard line.
Yeah, he definitely got in, but I think it's coming back for a hold.
Now, I believe holding indicated against the offense. I'm not for sure on this, Chris, and it won't make a huge difference here with 122. I believe an offensive penalty stops the clock. I want to say, I'm not for sure on
that. We'll replay first down. It'll probably stop the clock under 2 minutes.
But I'm really, at this point here, holding against Spanish Fork, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in the outcome of this ball game.
First down and 12 for the Dogs.
We'll see here what.
Yeah, they haven't started the clock. They set the ball. You just need to nail the ball. That was a great run by Salofafuna that time.
So a big situation here, as looking to see here the final score. Spoiler alert, Chris, the final score: Springville 14, Maple Mountain 13.
Oh, wow.
A blocked extra point had something to do with the outcome is what I'm reading online. So I don't know if everything there, but Maple Mountain falls to 0-1 in region, setting up next week. Springville at 1-0. Spanish Fork should be at 1-0. The clock rolling here with 52 seconds to go on a second down and 11. All of a sudden, if you're Spanish Fork and you pull an upset, you could be alone at 2-0 at the top of Region 8 next week.
And then they have Maple Mountain after that at Maple Mountain. So Spanish Fork's schedule's been a little quirky. They've played 3 out of the first 4 on the road here. They'll go 4 out of the first 6 on the season on the road as well.
Salem Hills, on the other hand, they're going to be back at home next week. Their final home game of the year, Chris, I thought was interesting. It's October 1st. They're going to play almost the entire month of October on the road.
That's not very fun to play all those road games at the end of the season, but you're right. They're at Westlake, at Springville, and at Maple Mountain to end the season.
This should be the final play. 6 seconds. Clock running. Kiesel takes the knee, and that should do it. Your final score here from Salem, it's the Spanish Fork Dons 21 and the Salem Hill Skyhawks 14. Spanish Fork able to find a way to get it done once again.
Yeah, their defense stepped up and did a great job of making sure Salem Hills didn't score late in the ball game. And I think all the credit goes to the defense. The offense did just enough. They got 14 points. And that's all they needed because the defense came up with the other 7. So I think the Dons defense wins this ball game tonight.
Mace Funa, that big interception return that he takes to the house, his 3rd defensive score of the game, gives them a 21-14 lead. So we're going to get ready here. We're going to take a break here on Spanish Fork 17, and we'll come back. Once again, our final score from Salem, it's the Spanish Fork Dons 21, the Salem Hill Skyhawks 14. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. Back here at here at Salem Hills High School here as on September 11th, the end zone's painted red, white, and blue. And now the families, I'm sure the tension of everything, Cooper Smith and Jordan Smith can shake hands. The Higginson family can now shake hands and say, hey, good job, good game. But the Spanish Fork Dons come out victorious 21-14. And Chris, really, when you take a look at this one, you get early on, Salem Hills had the momentum in the early going. The Skyhawks get that big touchdown pass from Swenson to Cooper Smith, and it kind of looked like Salem Hills was going to take control early on in that one.
Yeah, the first quarter was kind of back and forth there, but Spanish Fork, I think, defense was the big key. Both defenses played well. I think the big difference was that pick 6 by Mace Funa, and got to credit the hard-hitting defenses, and both defensive lines did a great job of stuffing the run.
You take a look at it, it was after that, later on in the first quarter, Nate Kiesel comes back. He gets free, gets a 6-yard touchdown run. We're tied at 7, and then all of a sudden something changes late in that second quarter. A pick 6 by Mace Funa. What a great performance again. He's a freshman playing this game here as a varsity athlete and doing it quite well.
Yeah, and his brother Salofa Funa was all over the field, and Landon Jensen, number 10, he was the Energizer Bunny for that defense. He had the turbo button held down all game, and it didn't run out.
And so then Nate Kiesel comes back in the fourth quarter, helps Spanish Fork, or what we thought at the time was going to put the game away for the Dons. Nate Kiesel, a 27-yard touchdown run. It's 21-7 in favor of Spanish Fork. But then Swenson comes right back, finds a screen pass to Wolfgram, who takes it to the house, a 22-yard strike, and it's a 21-14 game. I mean, what a great performance here from Salem Hills. So let's kind of set everything here for you. We're going to get ready here to go. We're going to keep it right here with us. We're going to get ready to do the MVP Sports MVP of the game, and then we're going to get ready to wrap this one up. We'll talk a little bit about next week's game as it's setting up to be a showdown back home at Spanish Fork, and we'll get everything set, ready to go. Chris, when we take a look at this from the standpoint of the MVP Sports MVP of the game, a lot of different guys. Obviously, Nate Kiesel with 2 touchdowns you could look at. But you can look at Mace Funa probably for the return. But the way that Spanish Fork defense played tonight, I think it's got to go to somebody on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think it's got to go to Mace Funa. Not only did he have the pick 6, had a couple of big tackles, but he also had another INT. He's got 4 INTs on the season. 3 of them he's brought back to the house, and he's a big reason Spanish Fork's 1-0 in region play tonight.
And that's a big situation here. You talk about for Spanish Fork. We talked about it a few weeks ago with this tough stretch to the schedule. They have to find a way to play this game here tonight. Then they have to go and they have to play next week at home against Springville, a team that a lot of writers around the state have said could win the league or win the region. Oh, and then you turn around and let's go across town to Maple Mountain. That's not an easy schedule. So we talked about a couple weeks ago where we really felt they needed to take 2 out of those 3 to really finish at the top of the region.
Yeah, if you want to get that home playoff game, which means you have to be first or second, they need 2 of these first 3 games. And if you get all 3 of them, I guarantee you they'll win region.
Yeah, because you look at that second part of the schedule with Uinta, Payson, Wasatch. I mean, that's going to be a schedule. You got Alta mixed in there as well, kind of that non-region game in the middle of the year. But when you take a look at it from a standpoint of Spanish Fork, this is really going to be an opportunity to have for them to really build their season. They're 3-1 now, getting ready for that big crosstown rivalry game.
So I got a question for you. The fans here are going nuts. Did Salem win or lose? Because they are celebrating like they won the game.
Maybe it's great hospitality here. Maybe they're celebrating. I mean, it's great to see, though, that we can have it. I love what Sam and Ken talked about a little bit at halftime, how great it is sometimes we get caught up so much in life and things like that in athletics and how competition fuels us. It's nice sometimes to have those moments like we had pregame where Salem Hills and Spanish Fork and the fans could kind of all come together and say, okay, in a few minutes, we're going to start a very serious, intense competition, but we're going to take a step back and we're going to understand that at the end of the day, we're, you know, all kind of going for the same purpose when it comes to being Americans and things like that.
You're absolutely right. It's just a game. It's a extracurricular activity that's great for these students to get out there and play football and you know, have some fun. But it is just a game.
Next week we're going to be back at home. We're going to get ready here back at home. Springville coming into town. We want to thank our sponsors here one last time. The Car Guys for sponsoring our Car Guys Instant Replays. Lance Wilson from State Farm for the assist of the game, and the MVP Sports MVP of the game, which tonight goes to Mace Funa, who had his third interception return for a touchdown. To Jack's Pizza, Triple T, and also the Spanish Fork Community Network. We want to thank our team here for getting everything ready to go in the pregame. Chris, next week we're getting ready. Springville's coming in. It's going to be exciting right here on Spanish Fork 17. That's going to be an exciting start to the home region season.
It is. I'm excited to watch that game, but tonight the Dons were victorious 21-14 over the Salem Skyhawks.
So we're going to sign it off for this week. I'm Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst for our entire Spanish Fork Community Network team here at Salem High School in Salem, Utah.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Back here at here at Salem Hills High School here as on September 11th, the end zone's painted red, white, and blue. And now the families, I'm sure the tension of everything, Cooper Smith and Jordan Smith can shake hands. The Higginson family can now shake hands and say, hey, good job, good game. But the Spanish Fork Dons come out victorious 21-14. And Chris, really, when you take a look at this one, you get early on, Salem Hills had the momentum in the early going. The Skyhawks get that big touchdown pass from Swenson to Cooper Smith, and it kind of looked like Salem Hills was going to take control early on in that one.
Yeah, the first quarter was kind of back and forth there, but Spanish Fork, I think, defense was the big key. Both defenses played well. I think the big difference was that pick six by Mace Funa, and got to credit the hard-hitting defenses, and both defensive lines did a great job of stuffing the run.
You take a look at it, it was after that, later on in the first quarter, Nate Kiesel comes back. He gets free, he gets a 6-yard touchdown run. We're tied at 7, and then all of a sudden something changes late in that second quarter. A pick six by Mace Funa. What a great performance again. He's a freshman playing this game here as a varsity athlete and doing it quite well.
Yeah, and his brother Salofa Funa was all over the field, and Landon Jensen, number 10, he was the Energizer Bunny for that defense. He had the turbo button held down all game, and it didn't run out.
And so then Nate Kiesel comes back in the fourth quarter, helps Spanish Fork, or what we thought at the time was going to put the game away for the Dons. Nate Kiesel, a 27-yard touchdown run. It's 21-7 in favor of Spanish Fork. But then Swenson comes right back, finds a screen pass to Wolfgram, who takes it to the house, a 22-yard strike, and it's a 21-14 game. I mean, what a great performance here from Salem Hills. So let's kind of set everything here for you. We're going to get ready here to go. We're going to keep it right here with us. We're going to get ready to do the MVP Sports MVP of the game. and then we're going to get ready to wrap this one up. We'll talk a little bit about next week's game as it's setting up to be a showdown back home at Spanish Fork, and we'll get everything set, ready to go. Chris, when we take a look at this from the standpoint of the MVP Sports, MVP of the game, a lot of different guys. Obviously, Nate Kiesel with 2 touchdowns you can look at. But you can look at Mace Funa probably for the return. But the way that Spanish Fork defense played tonight, I think it's got to go to somebody on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think it's got to go to Mace Funa. Not only did he have the pick 6, had a couple of big tackles, but he also had another INT. He's got 4 INTs on the season. 3 of them he's brought back to the house, and he's a big reason Spanish Fork's 1-0 in region play tonight.
And that's a big situation here. You talk about for Spanish Fork. We talked about it a few weeks ago with this tough stretch to the schedule. They have to go, they have to find a way to play this game here tonight. Then they have to go and they have to play next week at home against Springville, a team that a lot of writers around the state have said could win the league or win the region. Oh, and then you turn around and let's go across town to Maple Mountain. That's not an easy schedule. So we talked about a couple weeks ago where we really felt they needed to take 2 out of those 3 to really finish at the top of the region.
Yeah, if you want to get that home playoff game, which means you have to be first or second, they need 2 of these first 3 games. And if you get all 3 of them, I guarantee you they'll win region.
Yeah, because you look at that second part of the schedule with Uinta, Payson, Wasatch. I mean, that's going to be a schedule. You got Alta mixed in there as well, kind of that non-region game in the middle of the year. But when you take a look at it from a standpoint of Spanish Fork, this is really going to be an opportunity to have for them to really build their season. They're 3-1 now, getting ready for that big crosstown rivalry game.
So I got a question for you. The fans here are going nuts. Did Salem win or lose? Because they're celebrating like they won the game.
Maybe it's great hospitality here. Maybe they're celebrating. I mean, it's great to see, though, that we can have it. I love what Sam and Ken talked about a little bit at halftime, how great it is sometimes we get caught up so much in life and things like that in athletics and how competition fuels us. It's nice sometimes to have those moments like we had pregame where Salem Hills and Spanish Fork and the fans could kind of all come together and say, okay, for a few minutes, we're going to start a very serious, intense competition, but we're going to take a step back and we're going to understand that at the end of the day, we're all kind of going for the same purpose when it comes to being Americans and things like that.
You're absolutely right. It's just a game. It's a extracurricular activity that's great for these students to get out there and play football and have some fun. But it is just a game.
Next week we're going to be back at home. We're going to get ready here back at home. Springville coming into town. We want to thank our sponsors here one last time. The Car Guys for sponsoring our Car Guys Instant Replays. Lance Wilson from State Farm for the assist of the game, and the MVP Sports MVP of the game, which tonight goes to Mace Funa, who had his 3rd interception return for a touchdown, to Jack's Pizza, Triple T, and also the Spanish Fork Community Network. We want to thank our team here for getting everything ready to go in the pregame. Chris, next week we're getting ready. Springville's coming in. It's going to be exciting right here on Spanish Fork 17. That's going to be an exciting start to the home region season.
It is. I'm excited to watch that game, but tonight the Dons were victorious 21-14 over the Salem Skyhawks.
So we're going to sign it off for this week. I'm Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst for our entire Spanish Fork Community Network team here at Salem High School in Salem, Utah.